My name is Mauricio Hernandez Mata. I'm 34 years old. My place of birth is Mexico, Guadalajara, Jalisco. I went to the United States when I was 6 years old in 1987. My mother sent for me, and I was brought over by some of her friends to San Diego, California. I joined the Army many years ago. Was young, really watched too many movies, and I wanted to see if war was the same as in real life as it was in the movies. I joined the Army in 2000. 9/11 happened. My unit was scheduled to rotate, was put on a rotation schedule. The general gave all of us, but I took it to heart, some advice, and I took that advice when I got into country. He told us to look to our left, look to our right, and thank the man that was next to us, because they probably wouldn't be there when we left. He said, the sooner you can consider yourself dead, man, the better off you'll be. You might actually have a better chance of functioning like a combat soldier. Maybe go home. Within our first couple of patrols, they planted IEDs. A friend of mine was unfortunate enough to be the driver of a vehicle that hit an IED and got his leg blown off. Within a week and a half of being in Afghanistan. And it just continued that way. I was actually with one of the mortar teams. I was a regular infantryman slash mortarman. But I mean, we went pretty much on all the missions the company did. A modest number of missions that I probably did that year is probably well over 160 missions, maybe a lot more. I stopped counting. During my tour in Afghanistan, I was one of the very fortunate ones to be put in a lot of really intense and dangerous situations. But luckily, I was never injured out there. We came back. I was back about 6 months. We were scheduled to rotate back to Iraq this time within 6 months. Some personal issues came up back home in San Diego with my kids. I spoke to my chain of command. I was given permission to go take care of my business and come back in immediate fashion. Well, when I went, before I was able to get back, I was stabbed during a robbery attempt. 2 men approached me when it was dark, San Diego, California. One pulled out a kitchen knife, like this big, and the other one had a golf club. I didn't see the knife the other man had, but the other one had a knife as well. And they approached me. They told me to give them my money or they were going to kill me. I looked at them, smiled, and laughed a little bit and told them I want to see. And we commenced to fight. They commenced to stab me. They ran. I chased them. Ended up running back to my car. Made my way to the hospital, stabbed multiple times with both lungs collapsed. Ended up in trauma, in ICU, an intensive care unit, in a coma for a week. I reported to my chain of command when I woke up. Obviously, I didn't report on time because I should have been back before then. They told me that that since I couldn't prove that I was in the hospital yet, that I would be considered AWOL until I reported. When I healed, I reported. When I reported to my chain of command, they told me I was no longer physically fit for combat duty, that I had to get out of the Army or reclass to a non-combat MOS, which is basically a job. So I was going through some things. My priorities were not, fixing my paperwork or checking my immigration status or anything of that, My everyday struggles were, okay, how am I going to get through this day without shooting myself in the fucking head, I managed to get myself in trouble within 4 months of getting out the Army. I paid my debt as far as the crime that was committed, which was a misdemeanor possession of a firearm and a felony possession for sales for a 0.5 gram of methamphetamines, which is my deportation charge. So I got deported for possession of methamphetamines, like equivalent to this big. When I deployed to Afghanistan, I had a family. I had a wife and 2.5 kids because she was pregnant when I left with my son. The old saying came into play, out of sight, out of mind, so I wasn't there. My wife started seeing all the Navy personnel that were around, and she had my baby, she had my son. But then after that, she had my son, and probably like 2 months later, she was pregnant again from some guy in the Navy. So I found out she left. I had nobody when I came home. She took off with my kids. So I came back to nothing. When I was deported in 2010, the first time for that charge, I came down here to Mexico and I started living in Rosarito. My family didn't know where I was at. Nobody knew. I ended up living in Rosarito for 30 days. I managed to get into a whole lot of things in Rosarito in 30 days with not very nice people, because at the time I had some issues with eye contact. I couldn't make eye contact without feeling hostile. So I got into a lot of problems over that. I ended up leaving within 30 days and trying to go back into the United States illegally. I was caught. I was sentenced to 37 months in prison. When I was finally deported in 2012, I decided to stay here in Mexico. I decided that if I was going to go back, it was going to be legally. I think that it would only be fair for all the things that I did in the service of a nation that I consider my home, a place that I love, that I fought for, that I sacrificed for, that, it's where my family lives, my kids live, it's where I grew up. I think it's only fair that the country that we love and sacrifice a lot of things for simply just love us back. I was born in Mexico, but I don't even know the Mexican national anthem. I don't know if they got something similar to a Pledge of Allegiance, but I was brought up saying the Pledge of Allegiance every day in elementary school. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And I think I lived up to that allegiance. My record speaks for itself. I showed true allegiance. I went when many people don't want to go. And I was there and wanted to go do the things that other people were crying, shooting themselves in the foot, and wanted to go home to stay away from. And it should count for something. Losing yourself like that, because you lose yourself, you lose your soul, you lose who you are, you become a different person. You're not that person anymore. You're one person when you get there, and you're a different person when you leave. But in the end, you're really gonna take a criminal record that is not very extensive as an adult, brought on by undiagnosed and untreated PTSD, And you're gonna hold that against me instead of treating me? I don't think that's fair. It didn't just appear out of the blue, you know. Things happened, and I did things, and I saw things, and that, you know, for the benefit and gain of the United States and the freedom of everyone that lives there. They have their freedom to deport me because people like me fight for that. It's not free. If people like me weren't around, if they didn't exist, if they didn't have that massive army with people that are willing to die for the United States and give their whole lives up for them in the blink of an eye, they would have so many fucking enemies at their doorstep, like this, in the blink of an eye, with AK-47s in their face. People like me keep those people away. When I die, I can go home. My mom can ask for my body, and they'll give me my citizenship to bring me home, and they will bury me with a 21-gun salute, and they will put an American flag in my mom's hands, folded, and they will tell her, thank you for your sacrifice and giving us your son. And the United States will tell her that. And they will bury me with the honors I deserve as a soldier. But why do they have to wait until I'm dead? Why don't they let me make something of myself? Why do I always have to be that broken soldier? You know what I mean? I don't always have to be that. I'm struggling not to be that. You know? I'm working hard not to be that every day. And you know what? Sometimes I am that. Sometimes I am broken. You know, I haven't went out. I look pale. I lock myself in my house for long periods of time because I can't associate with other people. You know, I have nervous breakdowns. Like, I want to do bad things. You know, I want to lash out. I have a lot of anger. I have a lot of, you know, I need professional help. You know, and I earned it. You know, they told me I was entitled to it, and that's why I want it now, because I just don't want to live like this forever. It's not somewhere you want to be. My head is not a place where you would like to be for a moment. I don't want to be there. So yeah, that's how I feel.